Yes.
All right. Well, welcome to Escrow Tuesdays. My name is Charles Swanberg, Time Agent Realty, and we have my co-host at the bottom.
That's a first.
That's right. You are Aria Tri-County, but your secret identity is
Tower Escrow.
with Nari
Nari
Nguyen.
from,
Get
yep.
that right. All right. Well, today we have a special guest all the way from Jersey. I always say all the way from somewhere, but come on. At the speed of light at 186,000 miles per second. We have Prisca from the Northern New Jersey chapter. How are you?
I am doing fantastic today. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
Right. This is probably your fourth Zoom show of the week, and I'm sure you're getting tired of being interviewed for all your amazing accomplishments and stuff. But yeah, so welcome to the show. So tell us a little bit about Prisca.
Okay. I mean, what is it that you want to know?
Wow, she's being specific. She must be like an attorney or something who's got that list, right? Only going to meter out what she wants us to know. No, just, give us an idea of, have you been in this country forever, or did you start out your little,
Sure.
Nothing super private, just a little tidbit of
we'll
talk shop
sure. Okay, so I was actually born here in Queens, New York. My parents are South Korean, so my parents originally came from South Korea. We landed here in New York, pretty typical story. And I moved to New Jersey at a young age and moved around all throughout New Jersey, predominantly in Northern New Jersey, like Bergen County, Passaic. I now live in Hudson County. And I got into real estate about 5 years ago. Working as a title agent. So I'm currently working for Clear Skies Title Agency. I think they have an office in Melbourne, and we also have a satellite office here in Jersey City as well.
Yeah, me and Nari know New Jersey like the back of our hands, right?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, Nari flies into Teterboro all the time in a private jet, so I mean, she knows that. Me, I have no clue. All I know is a lot of famous people have come from Hoboken, and there's a lot of H Marts in New Jersey.
Oh yeah, there are a ton of H Marts. My favorite store.
There you go. Store. Well, we'll talk about that a little bit later, actually.
So now that you were saying that you started real estate in about 5 years ago, why real estate, Prisca?
It actually was a little bit random. So I was actually doing corporate real estate management, and I did that for several years. I did find success in it, but there was just too much of a salary cap. I was not happy with it. So over time, just like everybody else, I got a little frustrated, and I took a chance, and I took a leap of faith and decided to get into title. I had no experience in real estate whatsoever. I didn't know anybody. I barely knew anything about the market. I really just had no idea what I was doing. And people took a chance on me. I
still don't know what I'm doing, so,
Yeah, I mean, people took a chance on me. I was amazed. I think that was really like my quote unquote big break. And they, took a chance on me. I found success really early on, and that's really because of relationship building. I think that those skill sets are sort of innate for the most part. And I was able to find people who just really knew that I was there to do what was best for everybody else. And I was eager to learn. They gave me a chance. I'm super grateful. And 3 months in, I went on full commission, and I never looked back. So it's been a pretty incredible journey for me. That's how I really kind of found myself in the professional world, and found a sense of confidence, and just knew that I wanted to accomplish a whole lot more. Because when you're held back in other areas, for instance, like retail, it's pretty suffocating. So I think real estate is refreshing, that whatever you put into it, you reap what you sow.
Yeah,
so
most definitely.
I love that about it.
Yeah. Charles, do you think maybe Aria was a big part in that relationship building for Prisca? What do you think?
Oh, I'm certain it wasn't. I mean, nothing to do with Aria, right? Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to get Raj Rapal to a board meeting or to a meeting at CDC.
I love
and I find
Raj.
out Raj is having lunch with Prisca and like is late. I'm like, holy moly. No, but
I love Raj.
yeah, it's well, welcome to the world of 1099, right? And it is a completely different world because, for most of us, we have no idea. Well, we're supposed to have an idea where our next paycheck comes, but you just never know. And when you mention it could be random, well, we allow random good things to happen, right? We're just trying to randomly maybe optimize that luck coming at us. So no, that's good. So how did you find Aria, Prisca, or did Aria find you? Tell us that story.
So I found Aria. So when I worked for my first title company, I was sort of instructed to go visit Aria. So before Aria, I did not have a lot of Asian connections. I didn't have a lot of Asian friends, aside from my family and my family's friends. So it was pretty interesting because I was like, I guess the quote unquote token Asian within my company. And they were like, go check out this group called Aria. They seem pretty elite. They seem pretty awesome. So I went and I actually went to Aria Manhattan. It just so happened to be like a leadership meeting that they had. So I went there, and that's actually where I first met Victor Eng, who I currently work with at Clear Skies. I met Kyle Chan, who's actually the president of Central New Jersey for the first time there. And I think that like when I first walked in, I thought that I was going to be immediately, I guess, like rejected or seen as like a new sort of outcast. Like my experience has never been like the warm and friendly environment that I got from Aria. So walking in, I was like, oh God, like this is going to be a nightmare. And it was actually quite the opposite. So everyone was extremely warm and inviting. Everyone gave me a chance without even knowing who I was. They were like, hey, welcome. Come be a part of us. And then I was able to maintain contact with people including James Chu, who was at US Bank at the time. And those people were all there to have my back. And that's kind of when I realized like Aria is sort of like a fraternity / sorority / family where everybody sort of looks out for each other.
Charles.
And it just was so, I don't know, like that's kind of where I found pride in like my roots, because I started to get to know a lot of other people who I really respected, and not having a network of Asians before, and seeing that there was such a variety of different Asian people within Aria. It wasn't just like one specific group. I really like that as well. I love diversity. So I thought that was a beautiful thing. So ever since then, I fell in love like right away. After the first meeting that I've ever been to, I was like, okay, I'm in. And I signed up, I think that day or that week. And then I never looked back. I bumped into Mei-Ling Lee, Vincent Ho, like they all kind of lured me into leadership, and I never looked back ever since.
Kind of like.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you for being lured in, but it's not that you're just now going to events and an advisory board member or a regular board member. I mean, you're the incoming 2021 chapter president. So, in all of our histories in Aria, whether it be Nari or myself, there's that moment where you drink or are asked to drink the Aria Kool-Aid here, right? And so tell us that story. Who basically said, all right, Prisca, you got to step up, be our president, be our board member? Who was that?
I honestly think that it was a few people, but definitely I have to give some props to Sean Fallon.
Okay.
He is the current president
Sean.
Yes, he is the current president 2020 for our board right now. And And we came up with an incredible plan to have all these things happen during this year. But of course, once COVID hit, that kind of went out the window and we had to wing it. I think I'm pretty proud of our chapter for all the things that we put out there virtually to try to keep our membership engaged. I can't say that it was entirely effective, but it's just a learning process for us right now. We have a learning curve. But I do think that his encouragement to do so, as well as all of the previous leadership people that I've worked directly under, I really attribute a lot of it to that as well. But I am super honored. I honestly take this with like as much humility as possible. I want to really, I know that Aria had a really tough year. And with that being said, I think that we can bounce back, but it has to come from the heart. It has to really be people who are ready to get down and dirty, you know, get their hands dirty, get in the nitty gritty and really do the work that is required behind it. So that's sort of where I am right now. I have an extremely talented board. We've made a couple of additions to our board of directors just recently, and I am really, really excited to see what we're going to be doing this upcoming year, and then hopefully that'll be a little bit of a springboard for the future years to come and the future leaders.
Well, I know Sue, and of course Smita, who was our guest Iron Chef at, you know, when we were doing all those crazy Zoom, was it happy hours, you know, when after COVID hit. So that's great to see. Wow. Well, you mentioned, you thought Aria was going to be this crazy nightmare kind of judging kind of crowd, and we welcomed you with open arms. But of course, your presidency of a local chapter will begin. So perhaps maybe, Nari, what do you think, that nightmare will maybe start creeping in? Promise it'll be all, roses and rainbows and all that stuff.
It's definitely what you make of it. And Prisca, I think you will do so well with that.
Thank you.
Yeah, with that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thanks. That means a lot. I definitely have like a little bit, on my shoulders, especially because of what's been going on with COVID this past year. But I don't really want to use COVID as an excuse to not do well. So basically it's just, hey, we have to deal with what comes our way and see what happens. So I think that we have a board with the right mentality. I have every confidence that we're going to do well this year and definitely, take it in another direction, shift wherever we need to, and, just be reactive to the situation.
All right. Yeah, most definitely. Now in those, in that, I know title business can be a bit crazy in itself. And escrow is another story and another chapter. Right. But do you have anything to share on a crazy story that you want to kind of indulge in?
Sure. I could give one crazy story.
Yeah.
There was a lady who fell behind in her mortgage payments on her property, and she decided to go for a short sale to get on top of her finances. So basically, that whole short sale deal passed. This wasn't through my title company; it's through another. A whole year passed, and the person that bought it was an investor and never moved in. So it looked like nobody lived there. Other investor realtors reached out to this lady. She was like a little bit on the older side and just really did not know the real estate world, the ropes of real estate. And they told her, hey, you still own this property. So she turned around and sold it for a second time to somebody else. And this time through us. Now, what happened is the attorney that they used in the past apparently had been doing a lot of legal activity. And I guess, for a long story short, FBI seized all of the documents. None of it ever got recorded, at least within the time frame that she purchased.
What was the illegal activity?
One of them was that he would have like a pretentious buyer So
Okay.
somebody who pretended to be a buyer, but it was actually his.
Oh, I
And
gotcha.
then people would turn around and say, hey, why do you own this when it was supposed to
Right.
be this person's? So there was a lot of fraud
I
happening
was
in that
hoping for bodies in the
situation.
closet or something. All right.
No, nothing as dark as that. But it still is unfair. So that's pretty much what happened. And you know, basically we were able to retrieve the money because the lady that originally sold the property realized what happened. She had moved overseas. So we reached out to her and she returned all the money. And obviously our title company returned all the money to the second buyer of all the fees incurred during that transaction. But, you know, luckily for that second buyer, you know, they did use a title company to make sure that all of that was taken care of, but it could have been a really bad situation. So that's just one story in the life.
Yeah, and
A
that's
lot of
why
people
you
try to pull
use,
things.
and that's why you use title insurance, right, Prisca?
Yes,
Yeah. Anywhere in
absolutely.
New Jersey, title, am I pointing the right way? That way. Go to Prisca. All right. Well, yeah, we've had some interesting stories. You know, we should probably do a top 5 interesting
Oh my.
crazy escrows, because what can happen in Aria and escrow?
Anything and everything.
That's right.
And now
Anything
we
Yeah.
have
can
something in
happen
title.
in escrow, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Well, let's see here. Let's see how technology savvy I could be today.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Look at these. You know, I keep meaning to change this slide, but I don't know. I might just slick. You know,
You
I
guys
might.
are the cutest duo.
Oh, brother.
Cutest duo.
Okay.
Aw,
Speaking of cutest person here,
there's the
all right, I can't
beauty.
say cute. I would say powerful. Confident. Someone that is kind of, you know, in their little shell is just talking away here. So, yeah, so we've got here, that's just amazing what you've accomplished. So here's our first segment, Prisca, and that is, why is it so cold in H Mart? Are you ready? All right,
I am ready.
I'm just kidding. We're not going to do that. But why is it so freaking cold?
I honestly want to answer that. I don't.
Go
It's
for
not
it.
even. It's not even because I'm not trying to speak on behalf of H Mart. So disclaimer right now for anybody, H Mart, you know, an investor or whatever. I truly believe it's for the preservation of the food. There's a lot of fresh food going on in there. There's,
yeah.
you know, you see all those lobsters and crabs and living things just swimming around. Like, I think that they keep it cold to keep the vegetables and, you know, all of the living things that we're all going to eat one day.
No,
Really
but
fresh.
I mean, this is not in New Jersey because it's cold out there. I mean, in California, it could be, you know,
No, they blast the
100
AC
outside,
for
and you
that
walk in,
reason.
I'm like, holy moly, I need to bring a sweater to come. So I had the privilege of doing some business with Gabby Kwan and one of his nephews here in LA. So, and I realized they had their start in New Jersey as a convenience store originally. So, all right, that'll be for another show. But here we are. Look at Prisca and her buddies and the edge down there. And that was my best rendition of the
Aria,
Jersey skyline here. All right, so top 5 list. I'll start off number 1. So the people. Is it people
Yes.
from Jersey? You from Jersey?
Yes, exactly. And just because you use that accent, I want to just make a comment. A lot of people, especially because of like TV shows like Jersey Shore, they have this misconception of what people who live in New Jersey are like. It's so true and untrue at the same time. There are plenty of people who are not that way. They come from all over the world. They're extremely cultured. They're extremely intelligent and hardworking people. We're fun. We're tough. That's for, especially living right next door to New York. You have to be. But we're also pretty real. We're very genuine. And I think that a lot of, you know, especially people that don't live near us are not aware of that, especially because of like social media and all the popular TV shows out there. But really, if you actually live here for at least 3 months, like you'll come to realize that these are people that came from all over the world and wanted to settle down with a family and live in a somewhat suburban type of environment. Or there are people who pretty much work in New York City and want to live in New Jersey, but just cross over. So it takes like 20 minutes from Jersey City, which is where I live,
Right.
to get right into the city. So it's really, we're fun. It's not like we're all like the what two-dimensional image that everybody has. Like, we're pretty awesome. It's just, you just like everywhere else, you have to find and pick those people.
Yeah, I remember I worked for Sony a long time ago, and this was out in California, and we went to the headquarters, right, which is in Park Ridge, New Jersey, which is, I guess, northern New Jersey, right? Am I correct? Park Ridge, Paramus, is that considered northern? Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's seasons there. There's there's like birch trees with leaves falling. I mean, it was just gorgeous. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
And Short Hills is not exactly kind of the slums there. So there's some pretty fancy areas there that I know of. So
Absolutely.
yeah, forget Texas, come to New Jersey, Californians.
Is that why the number 2, the real estate market is hopping? That could be the reason.
It is, it has been nonstop over here, which is actually something I'm extremely grateful for, especially since COVID hit. But even if COVID had never hit, I'd still be equally grateful, just because the value really never goes down. Even if it dips a little bit, it always kind of comes back up and then increases over time. So especially right now, though, with COVID happening, we've become a really hot commodity, especially for those that live in New York or neighboring states.
Oh, I see.
And they want to come here. We have more room. There's more room than, especially in New York City. And we have more greenery. We have an amazing school system, and it's still close by to all the businesses in New York. So a lot of people have been clamoring. It's pretty much been called like the Great Exodus for New York to come to New Jersey.
Right.
It's been insane. It's been insane. Everybody is still reeling from it, and it has somewhat quieted down right now, but there's still all those hustlers out there still making things happen. So deals are still happening and popping up every single day. It's pretty amazing.
Wow.
And I think that it's going to actually continue into 2021. So I'm excited.
Wow. Well, that's awesome. Well, and then I kind of hear you're kind of a food aficionado, and I guess it's a bit underestimated here, huh?
Yeah, I don't know if I would consider myself a foodie per se, but I have tried a lot of different food, and I really do think that New Jersey doesn't get the credibility or the credit that they really deserve for food. It depends on what exactly you're looking for, but really you can find almost anything here. So there's a lot of people here that have so much pride in the food that they make, and if you visit these small hole in the walls to all the big fancy places that are really well known, you'll find that there's so much love and so much skill put into this food. It really rivals that of New York. It's just not as fancy, it's not as pricey, and maybe the real estate isn't as nice as it is in New York City, but it really is a beautiful experience. And just specifically to me, I want to say that the Korean food here is incredible. All the Asian food here is amazing, but because I'm Korean, I just have to say, like, Palisades Park, Fort Lee, Edgewater, all those places, I just want to give them a shout out, because without you guys, I would be very sad. Every time I have that craving, that innate craving from childhood or growing up with my mom, they definitely hit the spot. It's amazing. It's pretty much like people coming from Korea and coming here and cooking the same exact food. So definitely come check it out if you guys visit New Jersey. Well, just hit me up. I'll take you there.
Well, unfortunately, we're over here in the West Coast. It's just before noon, so we're just like, food.
What about the attractions? Are they as incredible?
I mean, yes, yes and no. I mean, it's stuff that everybody knows about for the most part. So it's like Atlantic City, which could be a ton of fun. Everybody loves to gamble. Everybody loves to drink and have a nice party. There's MetLife Stadium for all the sports fans. And then obviously there's New York City that's like really close by. But if you really want to get into like the nooks and crannies, there's a lot of weird places that you can go for people who have different interests. Like you could go to like wineries. Then there are places like I think in Somerset County where you can look into like Dutch things or people who like really like a certain time period in America. They'll be like frozen in time and have different places to visit, museums, artifacts, like, you know, even eateries actually that cater still to like specific time periods throughout America. It's really, really weird and interesting. So if you actually want to know about all the fun attractions, if you just Google New Jersey attractions, you'll see a very, very long list of interesting things.
That are called and ask her. And then Victoria also had a kind of interesting eclectic list too.
Yeah, by no means am I a tourist guide.
Yes, you
so
are.
Don't. I would be happy to hang out with you. But if you really want a full tour, maybe call Victoria.
Okay. All right. Well, you know, after all that food, you know, sometimes, you know, our digestive system isn't working so well. So, you know, we certainly don't want to, wait, you guys are supposed to laugh. Come on. This is full service gas. Help me out here. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, you know, in the world of self-service gas, especially in Southern California, except for there's one place in Beverly Hills, what is this all about?
Yeah, I don't. So this is not something that any of us made happen. It's like a law that passed in like 1949. Don't quote me on the year. Yeah, and basically you cannot pump your own gas here. It became some sort of like a convenience thing, but you actually are not allowed to. So growing up here, it was weird. I remember sitting in Pennsylvania one day and I was like a young kid, like 18 years old. And I was like, hello, and nobody came. And I was like, wow, I have to pump it myself. What's amazing. I know, I was like, I gotta do this myself. This is crazy. And especially in bad weather, it's one of the perks. You could just sit in your car and wait for someone else to trudge through all the snow and rain and do it for you, and you never have to get out. So I feel like that's a unique trait of New Jersey.
So cool.
That
for sure.
So basically, if you're in, let's say the East Village, or you're over in Manhattan, you know, hop in the Lincoln or Halton Tunnel, get over to New Jersey so you don't have to pump your own gas, right?
Exactly.
Wow, I didn't realize that. Now, do they check your oil too? Because in Beverly Hills, when they check your oil, guess what they use to wipe the oil off the dipstick? $100 bill. Come on.
What? Oh, gosh.
All right. Anyway, that's a whole different show.
You are getting us left and right, Charles.
No, it is. That's
so
what
funny.
we do over here. But no, I had no idea. So that's kind of a cool thing.
It is cool. Once you get used to it, you can't go back.
Well, in Japan, they do that a lot, too, in the full service ones. They actually
absolutely
crew get out there. All right. Well, I know you proclaim that you are not a foodie, but we have just made you one. So enjoy this. Oh, sorry. I forgot to add the body part to this.
Oh my God. That is a perfect image. Exactly what I look like.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. But you're wearing just a bunch of inner tubes, right?
Love it.
So Michelin, as you know, is a French company. And they did a lot more than just tires. So just kind of a fun fact in when Prisca is checking out all these restaurants and starts, facts about the Michelin Star. So apparently it was just some promotional giveaway, by the French tire company, because I guess people were driving around and traveling and they said, here, you need to stop at this place and that place. So it was just started as an idea, just like Escrow Tuesdays, right? Ari, we just kind of started it kind of as a whim. So apparently they started a long, long time ago, in about 1900, just to try to get you to buy tires. Hey, if we get people to drive to go to more restaurants, I'll have to buy more tires. Okay, that's the way it was. All right, so apparently no one knows how many people or inspectors Michelin has. And I guess they've got 23 countries that they kind of cover, and the actual number of inspectors, I guess, is shrouded in secrecy, as probably the people, right? So they can actually do these inspections and stuff. So here's basically from what we found, and I think I got this from Wikipedia, which is always right. It's never wrong, right, Prisca?
Okay, yes.
All right,
Never
so
wrong.
1 star. What would you describe, Prisca, as a 1-star restaurant?
A place that's, I guess, tolerable. You won't get sick from the food.
Oh, wow. Look at that. And your feet won't stick that hard to the floor. We could actually walk. Is that what it is?
Exactly.
Well, in the Michelin Guide, it's a little bit more, let's just say, it's a very good restaurant in the category, apparently. To the guide.
Okay.
Yeah, not
Very
someplace
cool.
you would want to avoid. So they're a little more kind. All right. And apparently they are some of the best restaurants in the world that are only 1 star. So
Amazing.
and that's someplace where you will have a serious problem where you will need to get a prescription of Cipro to cure your ails. Okay. Here's what 2 stars is. Whoops, I'm going to go back. So what is 2 stars in your kind of rating system?
Okay. I mean, I guess based on relevance, I would say 2 stars is extraordinary. And there are very few. There'll probably be very few that are better, but definitely exceptional.
But in your category, it's basically if your feet don't stick to the floor and you can lift
They're
the fork
good.
off the table.
Yeah. Like I would come back. I would come back to it.
Okay. All right. I got you. Well, in their case, it means that it's excellent cooking. That's worth a detour. I guess maybe the service isn't perfect or maybe the decor isn't amazing, but the food is still pretty amazing. So, and of course, 3-star is the top level in Michelin. So what would qualify Prisca as a 3-star Prisca worthy restaurant?
Wow. I guess a place where I would go for special occasions. Price tag wouldn't matter. And a place that I dream about when I feel hungry.
Wow. You could have written the book. Well, it's obviously the highest honor that it could take. And it's apparently it is worth exactly what you said, worth a special journey to visit. So that is awesome. All right. That concludes our top 5 and our fun facts. Upcoming, do you know any of these folks here, Prisca?
I actually do not personally know them, but they do look interesting.
Well, they are part of your Aria family now. That is Samantha.
Awesome.
She's formerly the Sacramento chapter president and is now the Northwest regional rep. And Seti Minacci is our, shining star up in the Vancouver chapter. People don't realize out of our 41 chapters, we do have 2 of them in Canada. So it is not all in America. So you are quite elusive, and it's hard to get photos of Prisca, but here you are in your favorite sport. Obviously, you are, I believe, a champion of what they call this, cornhole.
Oh my gosh, no. Okay, so yes, this is called cornhole. It is my 2nd time ever playing it in my life. I was terrible. But we did.
Champion.
This was during our golf outing. I do like to play billiards, but yes, cornhole.
Well, and Karen Park told me that you're kind of an aficionado of vodka-based drinks.
Oh, absolutely. I love that stuff.
Good. Well, Prisca, if you are just perusing the internet or you see one of our future shows, don't forget to subscribe to us, hit like, and like I said, we are trying to monetize this. So me and Aria can make at least a minimum of $400,000 a year. For the 1031 exchange next year. We need about 1 million followers. So we're about, I would say, 999 short of that goal. So anyway.
You'll get there. I have faith.
That's
I
right.
truly believe it.
Here's
Thank
the
you
only
so much
other
for having
photo
me.
of the internet that Prisca's on during that same
Oh
golf.
my gosh.
That's
Oh my
right.
goodness.
Masked up. And
thank you.
Notice her golfing shoes that she's wearing,
Yeah. I had a man the front, okay? I'm still learning. And
her Gucci bag right there, just thrown casually on the ground. Okay. I love that. More that means that. Well, thank you, Prisca, for joining us. It's great to get to know, future and current AREAA leaders and people that are upcoming, and you certainly are. We wish you the best of luck for the 2021, and we'll see you on the the Leadership Summit, which is coming up on the 20th and 21st in January.
Absolutely.
And Prisca, is there any future events or anything that you'd like to plug for your chapter?
Actually, I do want to talk about AREAA Edge. We have a wellness event that's going to be coming up. I believe it's going to be January 28th. And I think the topic is going to be about grief and loss, but we're still working on solidifying all of the speakers for that event. If you guys could just come show support for AREAA Edge, we're definitely taking it into a new direction. And if, you know, I know that there are some chapters that maybe even never heard of Edge, so please just come check us out and see what we're about, give us a chance. And yeah, and Northern New Jersey is definitely going to be coming up with a lot of amazing events as well. So I'll definitely keep you guys posted on that as too.
All right, Prisca. Well, if you guys have any questions about AREAA Edge or title, especially in New Jersey, contact this person right here. I'm always pointing the wrong direction, this way or that way. I don't know. Nari, you're on the bottom again.
Okay.
Yeah. And then if you guys have any escrow in the Los Angeles area, please contact Nari. She'll be able to help you out. Again, Prisca, thank you so much for joining us, and look forward to seeing you at the Leadership Summit.
Thank you for having me. It was an honor and a pleasure.
Oh, honor was ours.
You.
Let's stop this feed here.
Bye.
See you guys later.